Greetings, my wonderful students. I, Dr. Jyoti Vaipavi, welcome you to today's lecture video. We are going to learn about basic rules of ECG interpretation. So, these are the specific learning objectives of competency number PY 5.5. At the end of this lecture video, students are expected to have a good knowledge about these topics. So in today's lecture video, we are going to learn how to define ECG and explain ECG, principle of volume conductor, and ECG rules of interpretation. So, what is ECG? Students often get confused between these two terminologies. The electrocardiogram is a special graph that represents the electrical activity of the heart, whereas electrocardiograph is the device used to obtain and display the conventional ECG. So you see, we are getting a graph here, and this graph is called as electrocardiogram, whereas this machine is called as electrocardiograph. So you should not get confused between these two terminologies. So why should you do ECG? Why is it required to do ECG? First of all, the clinical utility of ECG derives from its immediate availability as a non-invasive, inexpensive and highly versatile test. That's why we use ECG. In addition to it, ECG is used to detect arrhythmias, myocardial ischemia, conduction disturbances. Also, it helps in detecting the life-threatening disorders like metabolic disturbances like hyperkalemia, and also it helps to detect increased susceptibility to sudden cardiac death like QT prolongation syndromes. These are some of the uses why ECG is used. So now, how do we learn ECG? ECG is learned in three phases. First, we have to learn what are the electrical events happening in the heart in one cardiac cycle. So once you learn that, we'll further go and learn how these electrical events are translated into or converted into cardiac vectors, and what are cardiac vectors and how are they represented and all that. And once you learn what are cardiac vectors, how they are represented, then we'll see how these cardiac vectors are translated into electrocardiogram, how they are represented as waves, intervals, segments, all that. Okay, this is how is the three phases where you have to learn ECG. To really understand the electrical events in the cardiac cycle, we must have a fundamental knowledge about the electrical activity of each and every myocardial cycle. So these are the electrical events happening in a one cardiac cycle. To understand this, first we have to understand what are the electrical events happening in single cardiac cell. Then we'll learn about electrical events or electrical activity in cardiac tissue and the whole heart. Okay. So, what do you mean by electrical activity of a myocardial cell? Let's take this contractile tissue over here, contractile cells. Do you know what this picture is? Yeah, these are nothing but cardiac cells. Okay, these are showing the cardiac cells. Cardiac cells are two types. They are special conducting cardiac cells and contractile cardiac cell. The special conducting are SA node, AV node, and special cells like Purkinje and bundle of His. Whereas contractile cells are atria and ventricle, right? So let's presume that these are contractile cells and take one of this cell over here. Okay. So all these cells are resting. Each and every cell in the human body is resting. Even this cardiac cell is resting. When it is resting, the potential, if you measure the potential of this cardiac resting cell, the inside of the cardiac cell, that is resting membrane potential, is minus 90 millivolts. That means the inside of the cell membrane is minus 90, whereas the outside is positive. So the resting membrane potential of this is minus 90 millivolts. Okay. So what happens when I stimulate it? When I stimulate this cardiac cell, whatever the way might be, it might, I can stimulate electrically or chemically or mechanically. Some of the um, chemical sensitive or mechanosensitive uh, channels open, that is sodium channels or calcium channels might open. These are stimulation sensitive channels. Okay, these channels open, and what happens when these ions come inside? So if I can represent these events in here in a graph, so you see, initially when I record it was minus 90. When I stimulated, some of the sodium ions, cations are coming inside. So when they are coming inside, obviously positivity is coming inside, positive ions are coming inside, so the potential becomes less negative or little bit more positive, and from minus 90 it might reach to minus 70. So minus 70 is taken as a threshold potential. So what is this threshold potential? Whenever these ions come in so much that the negativity becomes little less and becomes minus 70. What happens at that time? At the time, there some very important channels open, that are voltage sensitive sodium channels. They are dependent on this voltage. Until the cell reaches this particular potential, these channels do not open. That's why they're called as voltage gated, voltage sensitive. So these voltage gated sodium channel open. You should remember these voltage gated channels are uh, abundant in any given cell, because in a given micrometer, okay, if you take a square meter of this membrane, very minute membrane there, so even in that uh, micron of a membrane, there are 200 channels. So per square micron of a membrane, there are 200 to 300 sodium channels. So you imagine how much will be the entire membrane, how many voltage gated channels will be there. So whenever these channels open, the sodium just rush through it, just like whenever you open a dam, gates of the dam, how the water rushes through that, like that the sodium is so abundant outside, it will be just waiting to rush into the cell like anything. So much of sodium will come in. So so much sodium comes in that, and these are very fast channels. That's why whenever it is at threshold potentials, voltage gated sodium channels open, they are fast channels and too many sodiums coming, and too much positivity coming in, and it raises this potential to almost plus 30, like almost positive potential. So that is how the voltage gated channels work. And here what happens when it reaches the positive potential, two things happen. One is this voltage gated sodium channels close at the positive potential. I told you they are voltage gated, they work in certain voltage only. At this positive voltage, these close, whereas at the same time some transient potassium channels open. You know, potassium is abundant inside, and when this potassium channels open, some of the potassium will go out. So these channels are very transiently opening and closing. After potassium goes out, a little bit drop in the potential you can see, but still it is positive. But these are transient and they close. And at this very point, uh, voltage gated calcium channels open. So when voltage gated calcium channels open, the potential should go up. It's a positivity, it should go up. But at the same very moment, voltage gated potassium channels also open. So you see, calcium is coming in, there is influx, whereas potassium is going out, efflux. So positivity is coming in, positivity is going out. So there is no net potential difference. So the potential remains the same for a few milliseconds. There is no net potential change, because same amount of positive ions are coming and the same amount of positive ions are going. So there is a plateau here. But here, after certain time, after certain milliseconds, what happens? Voltage gated calcium channels close, but at the very same time, there are more potassium channels which open. So because more positivity is going, more positive ions are going out of the cells, the cell membrane loses its positivity and it is becoming more and more negative. So it's coming back and becoming more and more negative, and finally it comes back to its resting membrane potential. So here what you have to remember is that here when the cell is resting, it is called as a polarized state. When the cell is losing its negativity and it becoming more, when it is becoming more and more positive, it is called as a depolarized state. And this one, and this phase is a plateau phase. And when it is again gaining back its negativity, or it is losing its positivity and becoming negative, it is called as repolarization state. Here this is repolarization, depolarization, polarized state, and plateau phase. Okay, so the there is, whenever a cell is stimulated appropriately, there is some changes happening in the at the membrane potential. So this wave of depolarization followed by repolarization, this act is called as the action potential. Or just when you say electrical activity of the heart, these action potentials are only the electrical activity of each and every cell. I hope you've understood this. So let's move on. So, when you take a cardiac tissue, there are multiple cardiac cells. You take adjacent myocardial cells. Here I have taken two adjacent myocardial cells. They are connected together by this gap junctions, electrical windows called as gap junctions. So, when this cell is undergoing depolarization, that is when I stimulated some of the stimulation sensitive channels, sensitive channels open, and sodium comes inside, cations come inside. It will cause voltage gated sodium channels to open, and there is this depolarization happening. So when this depolarization is happening, you see so much of sodium is coming in, or that some of the sodium travel across to the next cell. This cell requires stimulation for the depolarization and repolarization, but this adjacent cell doesn't require any stimulation. The sodium ions which are coming in, they already come in and takes the cell to threshold potential. Again there is depolarization and repolarization happening in this cell. So first cell is stimulated, there is depolarization, repolarization. Because of this gap junction, the sodium ions, just cations, just travel to the next cell, that is the second cell, and there is depolarization and repolarization happening in this cell. And second cell stimulates the third cell, and third cell stimulates the next cell, and so on so forth. So what I'm trying to tell you is that cardiac tissue, if one cell is stimulated, the entire cardiac tissue are connected with gap junction and acts as a syncytium. The wave of depolarization and repolarization just flows through entire cardiac tissue. For example, if SA node is stimulated, the cardiac cells which are stimulated by the SA node, the atrial cells. The entire atria is connected with each other, and atria acts as a syncytium. The entire atrium depolarizes. So this is what happens when you think about the electrical activity of the whole heart. There is atrial depolarization followed by ventricular depolarization. So it's because of this gap junctions. So only one cell needs to be stimulated. So this is about the electrical activity of the one single cell and the entire many cells and myocardial cells. Okay. So now, with this knowledge about the electrical activity in the myocardial tissue, let's move on to the volume conductor principle. Okay, what is this volume conduction? What is this volume conductor principle? Volume conduction is a term used in the bioelectromagnetism. Oh my god, what is this bioelectromagnetism? It can be defined as the electric or magnetic field from an electric primary current source through biological tissue towards measurement sensors. It is defined like that. Let me explain what does that mean. It means that the primary current source, okay, the primary current source is the heart. Okay, it is producing electrical currents. There is electrical activity happening. And volume conductors, so current source is the heart, And volume conductors are the body and the body fluids, they are very good conductors, okay. And sensors are the electrodes of the electrocardiograph which we place on the body. So now you understand, the heart is generating the electrical currents, and it is conducted through the and it produces a volume of electrical field, and it is conducted via the body fluids. It is sensed by the electrodes put on the electrical on the body. So this is the volume conductor principle. So if I can show you in the experiment, I take a piece of this cardiac tissue and put it over here. This is yellow color is the piece of cardiac tissue, and I have taken a salt solution which is represented as the body fluids, and I am putting the electrodes. So whatever the electrical activity is happening in the heart, the depolarization and the repolarization is nothing but the electrical activity, the change of electrical field. So whenever electrical charges are moving, there is a kind of electromagnetic field happening around the tissue. Same happens in the heart. Whenever there is a depolarization, repolarization, there is an electrical field which is happening around the heart, and that electrical field is picked up by this body fluids and the electrodes. And this electrodes we have connected it to a galvanometer which shows there is electrical activity showing negative or positive deflection. So the ECG works on this volume conduction principle. There is a source, there is a conductor, and there is a sensor. So this is what we are going to study. The ECG is based on this principle. So let's take this experiment. Okay, here the same cardiac tissue I have taken. You can see the inside of the cardiac tissue, cardiac cell membrane is negative, whereas the outside it is positive, and we have placed it in a salt solution and connected via electrodes through a galvanometer, right. So the cell is resting, no nothing is happening, no deflection is happening, no electrical field is generated. So let's stimulate this cell, okay. If you stimulate, what happens? A wave of depolarization. You know, when you stimulate, there is sodium ions coming in, threshold potential, and so much of sodium is coming in. When sodium is coming in, the cell is becoming positive. So there is a depolarization happening, and a wave of depolarization swipes through this cell. Okay, you can see that. See, the wave of depolarization is passing through, and when it is passing through, the depolarization is passing through, the electromagnetic field is produced, and there is a change in this galvanometer, okay. So you can see this again, yeah. So when it is a midway through this, yeah, there is a change in the positivity, you can see. uh, what I want to see you is that when there is depolarization happening, okay, when in the process of depolarization, this particular cardiac tissue, this cardiac tissue has many cardiac cells. This particular cardiac tissue, there is a positive, okay, there is electric, it has positive as well as negative. Some part of the cells are positive or some part of the cells are negative. At a given very moment when it is midway through, there is both positive and negative in this cardiac tissue. When there is two things, okay, we call it as a dipole in this electrical field. The cardiac tissue is happening, is behaving like a dipole. So what is this dipole? Dipole is nothing but a combination of two poles. There is positivity as well as negativity. When there are two things, uh, both positive and negative poles in a given tissue, we call it as a dipole. So the whole heart acts as a dipole when a depolarization or a repolarization is happening, okay, the process of depolarization. So this dipole is recorded by the galvanometer. This is the volume conductor principle. And whenever this electrical charges are moving, okay, so they produce an electromagnetic field around it. Electromagnetic force is produced whenever there is electromagnetic force, okay. In lower classes we have studied that whenever there is electromagnetic force, we represent it with a vector, okay. Force is because it has a magnitude and a direction. So because it has a direction, the depolarization is going towards this. The pointer is pointed towards the direction of the depolarization, and the length of this vector depends on the magnitude. Okay, it depends on the voltage of the potential. If there is more positivity, more depolarization, then the length of the vector increases. Less positivity, less magnitude, less depolarization, then it is a smaller vector. Okay, so this is about the volume conductor principle and how the wave of depolarization produces a dipole, heart acts as a dipole, and this can be represented as a vector. Okay, so this is about the volume conductor principle and heart acting as a dipole, and which can be represented as a vector. Okay. Okay, the same experiment when the heart is resting, when it is resting and the membrane inside is negative and outside, when you when there is no electrical activity, you don't pick up anything. The galvanometer, there is no change in the deflection. Okay, there is no you cannot record anything. Okay, meanwhile, when the heart is undergoing depolarization, there is a deflection, but when it is completely depolarized, it's just like this. Inside entire thing is there. There is no dipole here, so you cannot record anything. Okay, when myocardial tissue is either completely depolarized or completely repolarized, there is no fluctuation in the needle, and you won't have any vector, and the cardiac doesn't act as a vector. Okay, whereas when the heart is undergoing depolarization, there is a positive as well as negative in the given heart or given tissue. It acts as a dipole, there is electrical field, and you can represent it as vector. Okay, so with this we'll move on to the some of the rules the it's followed in ECG. um, so basic rules of ECG: when you take a depolarization wave, when a cell is undergoing depolarization, the inside of the cell membrane is becoming positive slowly, and it is moving. It is this depolarization is sweeping through the entire cardiac tissue. So we'll see what happens to the wave of depolarization. If this wave of depolarization is traveling towards a positive electrode, see, in the next upcoming classes, we'll see how the positive and negative electrodes are placed on the body surface. For example, we put a positive electrode on a left leg, left limb, um, and negative electrode we are putting on a right arm. So why we put this electrodes like this and all, we'll study later. But meanwhile, when the heart is undergoing depolarization, for example the atria is undergoing depolarization, the depolarization is sweeping from the SA node towards the entire atria, and there is a direction for this depolarization wave. If this depolarization wave is traveling towards a positive electrode, we get a we get a positive complex or a positive deflection. Okay, the same depolarization wave, it travels to a negative electrode. Okay, it is traveling to a negative electrode, we get a negative complex or a negative deflection on the galvanometer. Okay, now coming to the repolarization wave. Repolarization is again the negativity of the cell is restored. So the repolarization wave is nothing but the negative wave. The cells are again becoming negative. So this negative wave, when it is traveling towards a positive electrode, we get a negative complex, and this negative wave, that is the repolarization wave, is traveling towards a negative electrode, we get a positive complex or a positive deflection. When either of these waves, depolarization or repolarization wave, if they are not traveling towards any electrode, they are just perpendicular to these electrodes, so we either we get no net deflection or a biphasic deflection like this. Okay, so this is the other rule. And further going to our experiment, the same experiment, we had put a cardiac tissue. Now let's take this two pieces of myocardial tissue. One of the myocardial tissue, I'm going to take a smaller piece, and then another cardiac tissue, I'm going to take a thicker myocardial tissue. If you take this thicker myocardial tissue, as we know, it has more number of cells. If there are more number of cells are stimulated. If more number of cells are stimulated, more sodium ions are coming in. If more sodium ions are coming in, that means more depolarization. Bigger depolarization wave is traveling it through the entire myocardial tissue. Okay, so that means the vector which is produced, the more electromagnetic field is produced, a bigger electromagnetic field is produced, and there is a longer vector. So if you can represent the electromagnetic field with the vector, it has a direction obviously, and it is represented by a longer vector because more depolarization, more potential is happening compared to this one, where lesser number of cells, lesser potentials, less electromagnetic field, and a shorter vector. Okay, so this is about a thicker and thinner myocardium. This is important because atria, they are thinner myocardium, whereas ventricles are a thicker myocardial tissue. When we are taking ECG and we are producing the waves, so the vector length is important in knowing whether the myocardial tissue is a thicker or thinner myocardium. So let's summarize. Um, Depolarization wave traveling towards positive electrode, we get a positive deflection. And depolarization wave traveling towards a negative electrode, negative deflection. Repolarization wave traveling towards a positive electrode, we get a negative deflection. And a repolarization wave traveling towards a negative electrode, we get a positive deflection. And if the waves are not traveling towards any electrode, they're perpendicular to it, we get a biphasic or no net deflection. And the voltage amplitude is directly related to the mass of the cardiac tissue. So in the next class, we shall be seeing what happens to the electrical events. We'll be learning about electrical events in cardiac cycle, how it is converted into vectors and ECG. So these are the references, and thank you all for patient watching.